Vegeta was the prince of all Saiyans. He was a proud warrior. He was a conqueror of worlds. Committing unspeakable atrocities, he ravaged and destroyed countless planets. Despite calming down in his later years and settling on a planet called Earth, he still had many, many sins tied to his soul. Far too many sins to count. Just when Vegeta was starting to change, he did the unthinkable. He surrendered himself to the evil wizard Babidi. As a Majin warrior, this Prince of Darkness slaughtered many more innocent people and endangered the lives of everyone in the universe. He eventually regained his sanity and attempted to atone for his mistakes by fighting the monster he had helped resurrect, Majin Buu. Vegeta sacrificed himself in one final selfless act in order to protect his family and friends. Despite this, his sins remained. The echoes of the civilizations he ended cried out in anger. His victims screamed for his blood. Vegeta always knew where he would go when he died. No acts of redemption could absolve his soul of the horrific acts he committed, and he was right. There was only one place left for him to go. Vegeta was getting sent straight to hell. Into the Inferno! What if Vegeta met his father in hell?
My life fell like dew, disappears like dew. All of this world is dream after dream.
Vegeta felt as if he was floating. He couldn't feel the dirt beneath his feet, or the air in the sky. He couldn't feel anything. His memory was a little foggy, but he could have sworn that he was doing something important. It had something to do with a woman, a child, and a spiky-haired man. A man with an incredibly annoying face. Vegeta's eyes bolted wide open. Whatever it was he was doing, it was something incredibly urgent. He looked around to get a bearing of his surroundings, but he was shocked at what he saw. He was standing on top of an arena. Around him were empty, destroyed stands with no signs of life. Vegeta started to sweat. Where was he? He didn't know why, but being here made him feel very uncomfortable. Suddenly, the prince heard the sound of footsteps.
Who's there? Calm down. Put your hand away. It's not like you could do anything to me anyway.
Pfft, as if I'd listen to someone as suspicious as you. I'll ask again, who the hell are you?
I'm no one important. Just like you.
Vegeta demanded to know where he was. The mysterious man stated that they were standing on what used to be a tournament arena. Many people would come here to watch martial artists fight each other for entertainment. It was a place filled with laughter, suspense, and excitement. But all of that changed when a pitiful man succumbed to his own weakness and, in a vicious act, killed many of these spectators without mercy. Men, women, children, it didn't matter. They all died in the end because of one man's selfish choice. Vegeta looked around as a cold sweat ran through his body. Why was he feeling so anxious? He didn't know. If only his memories weren't so hazy. Before Vegeta could ask the cloaked figure any more questions, a loud screech filled the air. Vegeta turned to see several green creatures alongside a large, bald man wearing armor.
Haha, there you are! After all this time, you're finally here. It took you long enough. Now I can finally have my revenge.
Do I know you?
What? How dare you disrespect me again? I'll tear you apart!
The brute ordered the Cybermen to launch themselves at the prince. Vegeta was able to easily dodge the various slashes and punches sent his way. Eventually, each of them latched onto the prince and self-destructed. Nappa laughed loudly. Before he looked in shock, Vegeta was completely unharmed. He wiped the dust off his uniform and asked Nappa if that was supposed to hurt. The large Saiyan scowled. Vegeta seemed to recognize him, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it. The cloaked man, as if reading his mind, said that his name was Nappa and that he was once a Saiyan warrior. A Saiyan? That noun seemed to ring through his mind. Nappa grunted, saying that he was loyal to him for decades and practically raised him. Yet, despite all that, he threw him away and killed him without a second thought. These words managed to stop Vegeta in his tracks. He tried to defend himself, explaining that he would never do something like that, but Nappa simply grins.
Oh, what a joke. No matter how hard you think you can change, I know you'll always be a selfish monster who can never be trusted.
No.
You betrayed me, just like you betrayed the people who were in those stands.
Stop it!
Just like you betrayed your earthling tramp and that half-breed mutt! Shut up!
Vegeta roared as his ki erupted into a massive explosion. The force of the blast was so powerful it consumed Nappa and the Cyberman, as well as the ruins of the tournament. When the dust settled, there was nothing left, just scorched earth. But was this Earth? Vegeta realized that the sky was suddenly green, and the nearby grass was now blue. He looked around, spotting strange alien homes and rock formations. However, he also noticed that some of these homes were badly damaged. Several of them were burning, while others had their tops blown off. Vegeta demanded to know where he was, as the cloaked figure asked him if he remembers this place, because this is Planet Namek. At least, it was. It was a place filled with a tranquil race of aliens, who lived in peace, until they were attacked by Frieza and his forces. Frieza. That name made Vegeta's blood boil, but he didn't quite know why. The cloaked man went on to explain that Frieza and his men ravaged the world in search of the mythical Dragon Balls, magical orbs that could grant any wish. Frieza wasn't the only one searching for them, however. There was another, pitiful, arrogant man with a wounded pride that sought the orbs in order to obtain eternal life. This man had come to this planet, just like the tyrant and his army. He went around, searching for nearby villages. He came here, to this particular village, where he single-handedly massacred everyone in order to get what he wanted. There were many people who stood in his way: Namekians, Frieza's lieutenants, the Ginyu Force. None of them survived. Vegeta began to breathe rapidly. His heart was pacing fast. He knew this place. He even remembered the sound of screaming, the smells of Namekians burning, the cries of people begging for their lives. How could he remember this?
It's because you were the one who killed us, Vegeta.
Vegeta turned around and saw a group of Namekians standing together. There were elders, warriors, children. Elder Tsuno looked at Vegeta as his skin turned cold.
When you first came here and asked for the Dragon Balls, I sensed a great evil within your soul. I told you this. I told you you were unworthy of the Dragon Ball, that you best escape. Do you remember what you told me next? No, I don't. You told us to die.
You also cut my head off, you jerk!
Vegeta turned around once more to see Goldo standing angrily alongside the rest of the Ginyu Force, Dodoria, Zarbon, and even Qui. Vegeta immediately recognized all of them, suddenly thinking to himself how the hell he knew these people. Qui chuckled as he proclaimed that he was going to take his time getting his sweet, sweet revenge, as Dodoria snarled at him to get in line. Rikum cracked his knuckles as Zarbon bulked up into his monstrous state. The Frieza Force and the Namekians slowly surrounded Vegeta as he yelled at them to stay back. Suddenly, all of them launched forward to assault the prince. Vegeta did his best to defend himself against the relentless onslaught. He was far stronger than them, but they had an advantage in numbers, and he was disoriented. His head continued to spin as flashes of memories flooded his mind. He saw an enraged Zarbon swing a punch that Vegeta attempted to dodge, but a flashback of him murdering Zarbon burst into his mind, causing him to get hit square in the jaw. Qui roundhouse kicks Vegeta in the stomach as he recalls throwing him into the air and blowing him into pieces. He gets kneed in the chin by Rikum, with a flashback of himself slamming his own knee onto the unconscious Rikum's neck, crushing it. The villains sneer and belittle Vegeta, calling him weak, scared little monkey, as the Namekians scream out for the revenge. The two sides dogpile on Vegeta, and for a moment, nothing stirs, not even the wind. Vegeta yells out as he bursts his ki into a massive golden aura. The Frieza Force and the Namekians are blasted away, with Vegeta staring down at them. The soldiers and the Namekians are left in shock, witnessing the might of the Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan. Vegeta knew what this was, but how did he know how to transform into it? While most of them continued shaking in fear, Vegeta asked them where the bravado went. Elder Tsuno stands back up.
I know what this is, just as it's written in the Namekian Book of Legends. This is the form of a rageful beast, the destroyer of worlds. This is the legendary Super Saiyan.
Shut your trap, that's not who I am!
Of course it is. This has always been you, and just like your predecessor from 1,000 years ago, you'll one day be consumed by your own power and rage. You will doom us all.
Enough! I'm sick and tired of your nonsense!
Vegeta's anger reached its apex, his ki overflowing beyond breaking point. Possessed by anger, Vegeta's eyes white while letting out a mighty roar. Its sound deafens the nearby screams as Vegeta erupts once more. The massive explosion continues to expand, engulfing not only the Namekians and the Frieza Force, but the entire of the planet as well. Planet Namek succumbs to the fury of the Super Saiyan as it is completely and utterly vaporized. Vegeta collapses to the ground, sweating and gasping for air. He just wanted to scare them a little. He didn't mean to lose control like that. But the cloaked figure appeared in front of the prince, saying that losing control is something Vegeta himself should be quite used to. After all, he adds, destroying planets should be a rather trivial matter to the powerful Saiyan elite. It's the duty of a royal Saiyan to crush every weakling that stands in his way and take what he wants. Vegeta looks up. Before he can utter a word, the cloaked man is nowhere to be found. He looks around again to find himself on another planet. This one had purple skies and rocky terrain. He was in another village filled with huts, while in the distance, he spotted an enormous castle. Vegeta's stomach dropped. Something deep within him knew exactly what place this was, but the name just eluded him. He was getting increasingly frustrated at his seemingly fractured mind. Whatever this place was, it felt so familiar yet so foreign to him. Vegeta walked through the buildings, past butcher shops and landing pads, instinctively pushing up his nose. Pah! How could he, the Prince of all Saiyans, be walking through these low-class scums? Vegeta suddenly realized that he was able to recall something. Maybe if he looks around, he might find something to jog his memory. However, after a bit of searching, he can't find anything that could restore his thoughts. Not only that, he couldn't find the cloaked man. In fact, the only thing that drew his attention was a small incubator with a child inside. That hair looked familiar, but he didn't have time to waste. This area was abandoned besides that child. He looked towards the castle in the distance. That place, it was calling to him. He doesn't know why, but he knows his answers are somewhere in there. Vegeta flies towards the castle as he approaches the massive entrance. His heart beats faster and faster as he slowly opens up enormous doors. Filled with determination, he advances towards the Great Hall. Just being there gave him chills. He looked towards the center room. Beyond the staircase was a large, intricate hallway. He knew these halls as the ones he walked past all the time long ago. He didn't know how he knew this place, but could feel it in his bones. Past this hall were the answers he was looking for. Vegeta gulped as he entered the throne room. It was like walking into a painting. Enormous, beautiful, stained glass windows overlooked the room, illuminating it with radiant colors. Two massive lines of Saiyan soldiers stood across from each other, unwavering in their position. Between them was a long red carpet that led directly to the imposing throne. Vegeta grinned as he started to walk towards the throne. He walked and walked, but the throne was so far away. How long was this room? He started to sprint, then run. He even flew at his maximum speed towards the throne, but despite all his efforts, however, the throne continued to be out of reach. Vegeta falls to the floor, panting and winded. And no matter what he did, or how hard he tried, he just couldn't reach the damn throne. He slammed his fist onto the carpet beneath him, with a voice echoing through the chamber.
Ugh, you really are a disappointment after all.
Vegeta looked up to see the cloaked man from earlier sitting on the throne. The prince stood back up, looking absolutely livid.
That's it! I've had enough of these games! I demand some answers. Where are we? Who are you? Who am I? Why can't I remember anything?
You know exactly who you are, you just don't want to admit it. You are Vegeta, the prince of the mighty Saiyan race. You're a warrior, a conqueror, a failure, just like me. I should know, because you are my son.
The man took off his cloak, with Vegeta staring dumbfounded. That hair, the beard, the sneer, there was no doubt about it. This man, who had been following Vegeta through his journey, was his father, King Vegeta. Vegeta stared in utter disbelief. Standing right before him was his father, King Vegeta. His memories may have been crazy, but he was able to immediately recognize this man. He couldn't even remember the last time he had seen him alive. The king states that he has no need for a disappointment such as him to remind him of his own failures. He stretched out his hand and ordered his soldiers to execute the prince. The Saiyan soldiers immediately charged towards Vegeta as he braced himself. These Saiyans were elites, and the personal personal guard of the king, but they stood no chance against the prince. After all the battles and training he'd gone through over the years, Vegeta has long since surpassed these Saiyans' preconceived notions of power. Vegeta opened his ki and blasted his foes. King Vegeta retorted that this was simply the beginning of his torment. He whipped his hand again, and the soldiers stood back up. However, they started to change. Vegeta was shocked to see the soldiers move. He was sure he had killed them. Their skin was bubbling and peeling off. Some of them started to contort and develop wings. These soldiers were transforming into different creatures. Vegeta saw rotten bug people, necrotic Namekians, and even an undead Pui Pui. He recognized the other ones as well. Nappa, Zarbon, the Ginyu Force, these were people that he had killed over the course of his life. Reborn as the living dead, Vegeta gritted his teeth as he yelled, powering up into a Super Saiyan once more. He ferociously fought against the undead horde. King Vegeta simply looked on in amusement. Vegeta unleashed a barrage of ki bullets, punching their heads off and kicking them so hard they split in half. However, despite everything he did, these creatures stood back up to fight again. From his throne, King Vegeta taunts Vegeta. These are manifestations of his sins, coming back up to reap their revenge. And as always, Vegeta is unable to do anything to stop them. He glares at his son, asking why he still bothers to fight back. No matter how hard he trains or how many people he kills, it will never change the fact that he will always be a failure, and he will always end up in hell. These words ring out in Vegeta's mind as the undead horde persist in their assault. At one point, King Vegeta stands back up from his throne, the zombies looking up at him. He points his thumb down as the ghouls suddenly lunge at Vegeta. They latch onto the prince as it appears they are now phasing through the floor. Vegeta struggles with all his might, expanding his ki, punching, kicking, and screaming. He flails around in a desperate attempt to escape. King Vegeta declares that he, his son, is a lost cause. Just like himself, just like their entire race. There was never any hope for any of them. He will now be trapped here in his own personal hell with the souls of his victims torturing him forever. Even as his body is being dragged deeper and deeper into hell, Vegeta persists in resistance, but only his head remained above the ground, as numerous decaying hands grab his face, forcing him to go deeper into darkness. King Vegeta tells Vegeta, as he is nearly submerged into the floor, that he will suffer knowing that no one cared about him, that he was always alone and will remain alone. Vegeta closed his eyes, ready to accept his fate. This is what he deserved. He's now completely submerged into darkness. Vegeta felt as if he was floating. He couldn't feel the dirt beneath him, nor the air on his skin. He couldn't feel anything. His memory was a little foggy, but he could have sworn he was doing something important. It has something to do with a woman. He recalls the memories he had with this woman, remembering just how annoying and loud she was. But she had a wonderful smile. Vegeta knew he was a monster, but she made him feel like a man. There was also a child with purple hair. He recalled that he was a little bit of a brat who talked too much, but he was also cunning and strong, always training to be better than before, just like a true Saiyan would. Finally, he reminisced of a spiky-haired man. He was the only one he ever saw as being worthy of his rival. He was the first one to ever give him a true challenge, someone who saw something good in him when no one else did. He had an incredibly annoying face. Vegeta's eyes bolt open as he yells into the void, erupting a brilliant golden aura, sparkles of electricity forming around him as he explodes one final time. He pulls his arms back, yelling, his ki expanding. He remembered doing something like this before, something for all those people. But this time, instead of leaving them forever, he was fighting for them once more. From the throne room, King Vegeta sat back on his throne when he felt the ground beneath him shake violently. A large beam blasts forth from the floor, sending debris flying in all directions. The floor had been cracked wide open. From the hole in the ground emerges Super Saiyan 2, Vegeta.
Come on, old man, is that really all you've got? I let you get those cheap shots in for free. Now it's time for you to face true power! Impossible! You're not the same whelp as before. Who are you?
Vegeta chuckles as electricity bounces through his body. He points his thumb at himself with a large, smug smile.
I am Super Vegeta!
Suddenly, in a single movement, Vegeta appeared before his father. He fires a ki blast that single-handedly annihilates his father and the throne behind him. Vegeta powers down, smiling as he looks through the hole made at the wall. He smiles as he turns around, saying that he knew he didn't get rid of him just yet. Yet, he's fine with that, since this means they'll now have a proper battle. Standing before him was an irked King Vegeta. Father and son clash. It's clear to Vegeta that, despite outclassing his father in every regard during life, he was now more powerful in death. Perhaps this had something to do with it being Vegeta's personal hell. Not only that, it seemed that King Vegeta was slowly getting stronger and stronger as they fought. Nevertheless, Vegeta refused to falter. This was more than a battle of strength. This was a battle to prove, once and for all, that his past would no longer define him. Eventually, King Vegeta is able to land a surprise punch at the prince's gut. He clenched his fist and slams it across the back of Vegeta's head, propelling him through the crater in the middle of the throne room. Dazed, Prince Vegeta looks around to find himself surrounded by large metallic fluorescent tubes. These yellow tubes were broken and empty, but towards the back of the room there was a group that seemed to be still functional. Inside of them were small babies, but they were horrifying. One of them looked like a miniature Ozaru. Another wore the armor that Vegeta did back on Namek. One was gray and purple, with hatred emanating from it. There was even one with blue hair, twisted, corrupted energy. King Vegeta laughed as he floated down, welcoming his son to the elite Saiyan nursery. King Vegeta explained that once upon a time, this was where Vegeta and all the other Saiyan elites were raised during infancy. Now, they only served as reminders of their legacy. Nothing good ever came out of the Saiyan race. Wherever Saiyans go, pain and suffering are sure to follow. King Vegeta motioned to the large incubator pod stationed in the center of the group of tubes. Within that pod was a baby Vegeta. King Vegeta asked if his son recalls what he told him the first time he laid eyes on him. He replies that no, he was far too young to remember. The king looks at the sleeping baby floating in the liquid as he places a hand on the glass.
I told you that I was looking forward to seeing you grow into a vicious king. I didn't live long enough to see it, but my hopes came true. Look closer and see for yourself who you truly are.
Vegeta takes slow steps towards the pod. It was foggy, but he recognized it, a familiar feeling. Much like his father did all those years ago, he placed the hand on the incubator. But to his surprise, a little hand touched the glass in response. Was this really his younger self? Vegeta wiped the glass with his hand and saw a horrifying sight. It was a baby Vegeta, yes, but as he turned, his face twisted into a malevolent one, with a black M on his forehead. The baby reached out, shattering the glass and grabbing him by the neck. In the blink of an eye, the incubator broke apart as the baby turned into a full-grown adult, a reflection of himself.
What is this?
You know exactly who I am, weakling. I'm you. I'm the king of destruction, Vegeta. No, that's impossible. You're not me!
Majin Vegeta smiled menacingly. That's all he needed to hear. He clenched his fist and slugged Vegeta in the jaw. In desperation, the prince powered back up into a Super Saiyan 2 and grabbed the hand, holding his neck, prying it open and jumping back. The two Vegetas looked at each other, one with disgust and the other with gleeful malice. The two fighters launched at each other, and it became clear almost immediately that the two were almost evenly matched. It was as if they knew what the other was going to do next. Strange, isn't it? He thought to himself. King Vegeta grew annoyed at the stalemate as he ordered his real son to stop playing with his food and get it over with. Majin Vegeta told his old man to shut up as his attacks became more wild and vicious, overwhelming the prince. Vegeta coughed up blood before gathering his ki and launching a powerful Gallic gun, but Majin Vegeta merely smirked. He raised his hand and fired an atomic flash, which simply pierced through the Gallic gun. Vegeta was able to jump out of the way. As he did, Majin Vegeta appeared above him and kicked him straight into the incubator pods. The pods shattered as glass and fluids filled the nursery. Majin Vegeta laughed as he approached the injured counterpart. He grabbed him by the neck and asked him to stand back up. He wasn't done playing with him just yet, despite his broken bones and blood loss. Vegeta looked at his doppelganger defiantly.
I refuse. I'm not fighting you anymore. What?
Majin Vegeta was in disbelief. He punched Vegeta repeatedly in the stomach, telling him to stop saying such nonsense and fight him. He even slammed him across the wall and slapped him in the face. But despite all this, Vegeta refused to fight. Majin Vegeta yelled at him, demanding to know why he doesn't want to fight. Even King Vegeta's curious. Vegeta merely looks at him and tells him that he doesn't have anything to prove to him. Vegeta reflects on his past. Everything was clear to him now. He was a brutal fighter who was used to dominating everything in his path until he came upon a backwater planet called Earth. And then he lost, and he never forgot that pain. He trained hard, with a singular goal to defeat Kakarot. However, as time went on, he started to enjoy his time on Earth, and even built a family. He was scared that his time on Earth had made him soft, So, he sold his soul to Babidi. He went back to how he used to be, and this mistake nearly cost him the lives of everyone that he ever cared about. He regrets his actions, but he can't deny them anymore. He had caused so much unimaginable pain to countless lives, and this would follow him forever. But the pain will never end unless he learns to accept his past. Vegeta looks at the King of Darkness with an expression of sadness and remorse.
I see it now. You're me, and I'm you. I'm sorry. I forgive you.
Majin Vegeta's face turns from a shocked expression into a smile. Not a malicious smile, but a soft one. And just like that, he vanished. King Vegeta sweats as his son slowly makes his way towards him. The castle was starting to crumble. The previous match between the two Vegetas had caused intense damage to it, and it was collapsing. Despite this, and his many injuries, Vegeta stands tall as he faces his father. He announces to his father that yes, he was a warrior, a conqueror, a monster, a failure. But he was also a father. He was a protector. He was a friend. This is who he is. Vegeta, proud prince of the mighty Saiyan race and defender of Earth. This was something no one could take away from him. Not Babidi, not Frieza, not even him. King Vegeta curses at Vegeta, telling him that he'll never believe that his son can change. Vegeta responds by telling his father that he'll just beat the truth into him and force him to believe it. The two royals clash one more time, as it's abundantly clear that the younger Vegeta is out of the Elders League. Vegeta had reasserted his power. In a final act of desperation, King Vegeta charges up his ultimate technique, while Prince Vegeta does the same. They unleash their massive ki attacks as Vegeta's final flash consumes his father's Orga Blast. The resulting beam struggle causes the nursery and the rest of the castle to be reduced to ashes. As the dust clears, Vegeta approaches his father, who was laying on his back, panting.
What are you waiting for? Finish me off! Let's get this over with. No, I don't think I will. What? Why not? I'm tired of killing, plain and simple. Perhaps it's time to start saving lives instead. What a sentimental fool! Son? Yes, father?
Do you think the Saiyan race can change?
It already has, old man.
Perhaps that might not be a bad thing.
Their surroundings start to be engulfed by a white light. As Vegeta looks around in panic, he makes eye contact with his father. For the first time, King Vegeta smiles warmly at him. Vegeta's surroundings turn into that of hell, just regular hell, not his personal one. King Vegeta is standing there, in front of the bloody pond, with a hand up, saying goodbye to his son. Before Vegeta can say anything else, all the Oni, the bloody pond, the bench, the white puffy spirits, and his father fade away. Vegeta wonders out loud if it was all a dream, and the shrill voice responds, "Doesn't matter?" Well, he is transported into a new area, an office, with a giant desk, and a man that looked familiar. Yeah, he had been here before. That was King Yema. He was very confused, but a small witch appeared in front of him. Fortune teller Baba barks at Vegeta, asking why it took him so long for him to answer her summoning. Vegeta tries to respond, but Baba stops him once more, explaining why she's there. She's willing to offer Vegeta one last chance to help out Earth and fix the mess that he caused. Vegeta turns around to look at the spot where his father was a second ago. He clenches his fist and smiles, pointing his thumb at himself, saying that Majin Buu better watch out. He is the Prince of all Saiyans, and no one will ever beat him again. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This was a super fun video to make, but I cannot take the full credit for this one. This was largely written by our good friend, Professor Chimp. We were gonna make it a series, just like What If Goku Met Bardock in Hell, but we decided against it, because this sort of character analysis of Vegeta through this story seemed a little more appropriate. And seeing what Vegeta was up to in Hell, while everybody else was fighting Majin Buu, seemed like a pretty cool concept. So be sure to follow Professor Chimp on Twitter and subscribe to his channel, which I will leave in the description below. Also, another piece of the puzzle was, of course, Rajmain, the editor. He put a lot of himself into this video. Some stuff we didn't even think about. All the transitions with the screen crackles and the monstrous versions of the Saiyans, stuff like that, he put a lot of work into this video and it really showed. Finally, of course, I gotta give a shout out to my good friend Josh from Dragon Ball University. They recently reached 10,000 subscribers a couple of months ago, so be sure to check them out and subscribe to him. He is my most prominent voice actor in this channel, and he's incredible. He voiced literally every character in this, as well as the opening narrator. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, as well as hitting the bell button so you never miss out on more content. I gotta give a huge shout out and thank you to the Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Legend members of the channel: Neil Whitcomb, Phil J. Akir, Eric Dragon, Sacred Saiyan, Pizza Hut Kitman, Orlando Castellano, Hannah Rowan, Sith Lord, Sir Justice, Midnight Combatant, The Real Samuel Randall, and Zachary Croy. Without you guys, this channel would not stay afloat. I'm still trying to figure out what membership perks would be good. A lot of people have told me to maybe do a voice call on Discord every first Saturday of the month or something like that for the top members, where we can discuss what ifs or life or whatever the hell else. So I may do that. Next week, we're gonna have the Majin Buu saga for What If Bardock's squad survived. It is one of the last arcs in that series, and it's a very long one, so it will be divided in 2 parts. I hope you guys enjoy it and look forward to it. Anyways, be sure to follow me on Twitter at ShareYourEnergy. That is the best way to contact me if you want to suggest any what ifs or just chat. Anyways, guys, until we meet again. See ya!
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Smugstick, unless you want to be destroyed.
Lord Beerus, that's hardly fair. But also, don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when he uploads new videos.